Hello and Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays if you don't. I hope you're getting ready for the new year and you're getting to spend time with your family or with yourself or with your friends or with your pets or spending time however it is that brings you joy. Today I want to share what is arguably one of the best ways to improve your relationships to others and improve your own happiness. Before I do that, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't yet checked out my online store, I'm very excited to have launched that this past month. You can find different products with original poetry verses on them. They make great gifts if you're still in the spirit of gifting. And if you haven't yet checked out my online course, Show Up Shore Secrets to Embody Confidence for a Lifetime, I highly recommend it. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is touched on in that course as well. People often talk about how we should source our happiness from within. And I am totally on board. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think there's also a God at play, and we can source our happiness and our joy and fulfillment from a higher power as well. And I think that other people have the power to do so much good for us if we let them, and we have the power to do so much good for other people. So I actually want to start this video with a short poem that I wrote and then talk a little bit about how embracing this concept can totally change our lives. So this poem that I'm about to share, I wrote, here's the story behind it. I don't normally talk about my inspiration for poems that I write, I just kind of write them. But this one was inspired because I went to a Halloween gathering and someone came up to me and was like, "Are you?" And I thought they were trying to guess my costume. And then he's like, so I was like, "You're never going to get it. Let me show you a picture." Because I dressed as the Beret Girl from the Goofy movie. So if you've seen the movie, the Goofy movie, there is a character who does spoken word poetry. And she doesn't have a name. Her character name, when I Googled it, is Beret Girl. And so I thought it was fitting for me to be her. But of course, no one knew who I was because it's a very obscure character. So anyway, this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Are you?" And I was like, "You're never going to get it. Let me show you a picture." And then he goes, No. Do you do poetry?" And I was like, "I do." And he recognized me from an open mic from more than a year prior. And it just made me feel so special. And then he and his friends were going on and on about how great my poetry was. And they're like, "We're not like poetry fans, but what you're doing is really incredible." And it just made me so happy. I was on cloud nine the rest of the night. And I really regretted not going up to them later to tell them how much it meant to me. And I planned to. When I went to go tell them, like, "Your comments really made my night," they were leaving. So I didn't get the chance, and it really bummed me out. And so the next morning I woke up thinking like, "Oh, I wish I got to tell them." But anyway, I used all of that energy to write this poem. So I'll share that and then talk a little bit more about how we can all use this in our day-to-day. Have you any clue how much good that you do when you go out of your way just to say something kind? You bring music to the deaf and vision to the blind, because we can't always find our own gifts by looking within. Sometimes it takes that sweet comment and the soft grin from a stranger who says, "I just love what you do. It's making me feel. It's totally new." But to them, it's just their thing. They never expected how much light it could bring. So when your soul starts to sing, please never shush it. You've got a symphony inside you and you don't have to rush it. Just follow the fun, one shimmy at a time. Let yourself surprise yourself and know that it isn't a crime to take a risk, to follow your bliss. Life gives us so many shots, and so many we miss. but the one that we make just may take on a life of its own, and before you know it, you'll be thrown into an arena that'll make you feel like an ant. Your palms get sweaty and you're starting to pant and you start to turn back because you just can't handle the pressure, but then you remember that sweet stranger who went out of their way just to say something kind. And in that one comment, you find the courage to keep doing what you do because they said it was meaningful, and you don't always believe that that's true, but their words move you forward, and they haven't a clue. And doesn't that happen so often that we think of someone who told us something nice and they have no idea that they affected us? So for example, when I was living in New York City, I remember going to H&R Block to do my taxes. It's a very inexpensive place to get your taxes done. I was newly out of school, so my first time like really handling my own taxes, and I was so stressed, and it was packed, and I was like waiting forever, and everyone in the room was just so anxious. And there was this little old lady walking around giving out Hershey's Kisses. She was giving out chocolate, and she said, "All will be well." That's all she said, but she just kept saying, "All will be well." And to this day, when I'm stressed and I'm like anxious, I hear that woman's voice saying, "All will be well." And she has no idea. Like, we didn't even talk one-on-one. She just was going around the lobby saying this. And that was over 10 years ago, probably. I don't know how many years ago, but it was a while ago. And she has no idea, but she stuck with me. And isn't that so cool to think something you said is living inside someone's psyche and potentially influencing them on a regular basis? And you don't know. And we have no way of knowing. Isn't that so cool? Like, when we really zoom out and think about it, it's like, how many people have you influenced with something you said or did? Or maybe you didn't even have a conversation with them. They saw you do something. Maybe they saw you pick up a piece of trash off the street, or they saw you open the door for someone, and that touched them, and they tell the story about this stranger that they saw do this nice thing. I just think that's so beautiful. I didn't even expect to go in this direction when I started talking, but wow, isn't that so neat? So my intention behind making this video was really to talk about the power of compliments. And when we go out of our way to say nice things to people, it does make a big difference. Yes, we can source our happiness from within and not rely on external validation, but I think other people's words are literally what keep me going. I would not have published my book if people hadn't told me they wanted it. I wouldn't keep doing these videos if nice people like you didn't comment on my videos to keep me going. And sometimes we don't think anything of it. We think like, oh wow, that video really impacted me, but we don't go out of our way to like it or to leave a comment because we think like it doesn't matter, or that maybe they don't need it. They already have a million people liking their stuff. They don't need me. But people do need that, I think. Or maybe not need it. Even if they don't need it, it feels so good and it's so motivating. And I'm guilty of this too, especially online. There's just so much stuff. There are plenty of videos I watch that I never comment on, even though I love them or I'll share them or whatever. And so I'm trying, since becoming a person who publishes content myself, I've tried a lot more actively to comment on people's things when I like them, or to share it, because that's the best way for creators to grow, is when you share their content, like sharing it or leaving a comment or liking it or whatever, because that is so touching and meaningful. Even more than online though, in person, telling someone, "I like your shirt," when you're walking around the grocery store, or when you're at work and you say like, "Oh, I really loved the way you handled that project," or whatever it is, but just getting in the habit of saying nice things to people. Not only will it improve your relationships, because people like when people say nice things to them, but it's going to make you feel good, especially if they accept your compliment, which is why we should also all practice accepting compliments and just being comfortable receiving them. I did a whole video about this, which I can link here. But when we accept someone's compliment, it's like we're accepting a gift. And it feels really good. It feels so much better for the person giving the gift when someone says thank you and actually appreciates it. Same thing with compliments. It feels so much better for the person doing the complimenting if you just accept it. Instead of being like, oh, no, and now they have to assure you it's true, or now they're responsible for your feelings, or if you get awkward and you're like, oh, which I get it. We all, sometimes compliments can make us feel awkward, but it's worth practicing. And again, I talk a lot more about that in this other video about how to receive compliments. But my point is, if we all made a practice of saying one nice thing to someone every day and allowed people to say nice things to us and accepted that with grace and happiness and joy, I think the whole world would be such a better place. And I could go on and on and on about this, but to be honest, my friend just called me and I need to call her back. But also I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter. So if you're interested in hearing more, just let me know and I'm happy to elaborate on this. But really the takeaway, especially right now around the holidays and with the new year, make an intention for this year to say nice things. Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution. I hadn't thought of really my goals for the new year yet or my intentions, but I think one of my intentions is going to be to support other people more, say nice things to them genuinely. You're not doing this to be fake, but genuinely say nice things to people. And when people say nice things to you, believe it, because you never know who's hearing your voice today that you haven't talked to in 20 years. And they could be hearing a negative voice too, which is why I think we need to be really careful with our words. But we're going to focus on the positive, say nice things to people, and notice how it shifts your relationships, notice how it makes you feel, and go out of your way to do it, even and especially when you think people don't necessarily need it, because you never know. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, again, please share it, please like and subscribe, and again, wishing you the most lovely holiday season wherever you are, and I appreciate you more than you know.